Frank Sinatra sang a song called My Way. He made the song written by Paul Anka famous. I like the song because Paul Anka sums up what it means to be a leader. As you think about the leadership role and all that you're responsible for, there are many decisions that you have to make on a regular basis that impact not only your life, but the lives of many others. As a leader, you are accountable for a number of things. Every decision you make has the potential to create ripples in the lives of those you supervise. Those decisions impact the organization and those that follow you.
In the song My Way, Frank sings that he's had regrets. He's had quite a few regrets, but at the end of the day, he has charted his own course.
He did it his way.
Yeah, Frank did it his way. In this lesson, you will chart your course. We want to talk about leadership my way, but not my way, but your way. What are your principles of leadership? Is it important that we define our principles of leadership? And if so, why? This will allow you to make decisions that are aligned with your core beliefs and that will clearly communicate your expectations for those that you serve. So Leadership My Way serves as a reference and reflection point as you progress as a leader.
In addition, you need your own principles of leadership so that you are confident when you make decisions as a leader. As a leader, people will often question the decisions you make. You have to have a firm foundation to build upon as you lead and guide others. You want to make sure that you have stability when you need to make decisions. Now, of course, you must take into consideration current circumstances, company policy, and other environmental factors. But leadership decisions should not be based on some whim or you being caught up in the moment. Leadership My Way is based on a firm foundation of ideas and wisdom you've gathered over time as an experienced leader.
So what are the components of Leadership My Way? First, define what leadership means to you. What is your ideal definition of leadership? What signifies a leader? That's what you have to get to the heart of when you think of leadership. What best defines that form of leadership that you aspire to? Second, what's your mindset? What is your attitude? How do you think about the mentality of leadership? How leaders see the world matters. Are you positive or negative? Is the glass half empty? Is the glass half full? Your mindset impacts how you plan, and this will shape the culture of your team and your organization. The third thing is, what are your core values? What is most important to you as a leader, and what are the key moral principles that guide your life? Are you a person of faith?
Right.
Yes, that does come into consideration as you think about leading others. Are you a strong family person who values work-life balance? Well, your values and your defined identity matter. Those core values will shape the decisions you make for others. Are you all about making money, production, hitting your sales targets? These core values will shape where you will thrive as a leader and the type of team that connects with you best.
Right.
So leadership is about choosing the right environment in which you can thrive. You and only you can define the core values that are important to you as you think about being a leader in any organization.
Finally, what are your expectations? What does leadership in action look like for you? How should leaders behave in their daily lives, during a crisis, with staff, and outside of work? There are many different types of leaders in many different contexts. That is why we're talking about Leadership My Way. Leadership expectations differ by identity and by industry. You need your own principles of leadership if you want to be successful. Please keep in mind, those expectations do have to line up with your chosen industry or profession. You don't always want to introduce culture shock into your organization. Sometimes that's okay, but that's a different module. We'll talk about that a little bit later. One of the things I had to learn about leadership is that I'm a leader 24 hours a day, especially if you are a CEO, executive director, senior leader, pastor, high-ranking officer. Once you assume a leadership role, you can't take yourself out of that role. You can't necessarily separate yourself from the expectations others have of you. So it is important that you think about those expectations as a leader. What are those behavioral and professional expectations in your daily life, in your family life, during a crisis with staff both inside and outside of the workplace?
As you consider how to navigate your growth as a leader, think about other leaders you admire. Who are the shining examples of leaders you want to most emulate? Now, before I go there, I want to make a distinction between role models and goal models. A role model is someone you want to fully emulate. You want to be like them.
Like Mike.
Yeah, so like back when I was in high school, everybody wanted to be like Mike, like Michael Jordan. Mm-hmm. But for me, outside of my name, that was really impossible.
Yeah, me neither. I can't even really play basketball.
Yeah, so we may never be as skilled or as gifted as Michael Jordan or as tall as we think about basketball. So it's really, in some ways, impossible for us to fill the shoes of other people.
Yeah, if I could jump in. One great leader, he was Canadian, it doesn't really matter, but he was Canadian, told me that when I replaced my boss as an executive, my Canadian friend said, Glenn, you don't have to be like, we'll just call him Joe. You don't have to be like Joe. You don't have to try and fill Joe's shoes, because when Joe leaves this role, he's gonna take his shoes with him. I mean, that was an important lesson for me. We have to be careful when we think about role models. We don't necessarily need role models in the Be Like Mike commercial. Role models often disappoint us because they are flawed humans we put on a pedestal. In my opinion, it's better to have a goal model. Goal models are people that have achieved certain levels of success in their life.
As leaders, we can aspire to reach certain goals. Goal models show us patterns to reach certain positions, hold certain skills, or to develop very specific skills. So as you think about this, who are the goal models in your life? And who are the role models in your life? I may want to play basketball like Michael Jordan, but I don't know that that's going to happen. I probably could try to be the kind of human being Jimmy Carter is, or somebody else that I admire. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, you will develop leadership my way or leadership your way. Let me go over those components again. Define what leadership looks like for you. Think about your mindset or your attitude. Next, what are the core values, the things that are most important in shaping and forming who you are? And finally, what are the expectations that you have of other leaders? Because if you don't know the expectations you have of others, how are you going to lead them well as a leader? Thank you so much, and we hope you have enjoyed this module.
Hey, well, you're well on your way. Now it's your turn. Download the Leadership My Way worksheet. It's in this worksheet that you'll be defining what it means to be a leader your way. Take the time this deserves. Don't rush through it. This is the core of who you are, and everything in this course builds upon that. In this worksheet, you will examine and reflect on both the great and not so great leaders you have come across on your journey. Who do you want to emulate, and who is the leader that makes you say, oh, I would never ever want to be like that person. I don't want to repeat their mistakes. So in this worksheet, you will do 4 things. Reflect on those shining examples of leaders you have come across. Start laying out your core values, what will define you as a leader. Get input from those you supervise or work closely with, and then get feedback from others to see if what you've come up with is a good reflection of you.
As you progress and grow, you can update this worksheet. It always amazes leaders the things they wrote as a 25-year-old leader versus the 50-year-old leader they are today. If you're an older leader, just shorten that reflection time. If you are living, you should be learning. As you reflect on your journey, I'm sure you will be amazed at what changes and what remains the same. Download this worksheet, take your time and reflect on those values you admire. It will serve as a tangible reminder of who you are as a leader. We are happy to be with you as you navigate this amazing journey of leadership.